Also, at what point do we put responsibility on the metaphysical shops of, like, just to come back around to, like, where they get their stuff, of sourcing it and citing it?
You tell them.
Like, because I feel like there is a big responsibility. This is my personal opinion, for them to do that. Like, I especially with what we've been reading about crystals specifically at this point, like, for myself, I can't morally buy crystals anymore until I know, like, where they are coming from. I just think now it's like, y'all need to start putting where it's at. And if you got it from a mine, where did they get it
Where's
from?
the mine? And you should be able to ask that. And that's the thing, is like, we were talking about really encouraging people to go to their local gem and mineral shows and being able to ask these questions. They should be able to tell the answer. If they can't tell you the answer, then don't buy it. There are a lot of local mining places that are gem and mineral shows that you can get, like, ethically sourced things. But also we wanted to bring up, like, the Tucson gem and mineral show, and how, if you don't look at those pictures and feel a little heartbroken, like, looking and seeing these giant crystals that have been just completely taken from our source of life, it's like taking out magical parts of our body. The earth is like our body. It's just a metaphor. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to me, like, really watching it, to see the raping of our earth in so many different ways, but in a way that's glorified in the spiritual community.
In the Democratic Republic of Congo, for example, children as young as 7 work the mines.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. I know that happens in South. Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing with the Tucson, last year's one, or I think this was from 2018, so this would have been 2017, I believe. There's the one that's right in this article, said she was offered a relatively cheap stock of bright green jade, but it was from, and I'm going to mispronounce this, Myanmar, where the lucrative jade industry has been deemed a hotbed of environmental corruption, quote, the biggest natural resource heist in modern history, end quote, according to one report. The New York Times has compared Myanmar jade to blood diamonds, as its extractions has, quote, helped finance a bloody ethnic conflict and unleashed an epidemic of heroin use and HIV infection among the Kachin minority who work the mines.
I just had like a wave come over me, because this is not a rare occurrence. No. This is not like, oh, this one place has issues. We have a responsibility as witches. Specifically as witches, we're supposed to be communing with the earth. We're supposed to be protecting her and enhancing her and connecting with her and allowing ourselves to grow as one organism, one breathing, thriving organism, and not hurting our brothers and sisters and our earth.
The main thing now, after doing research for this, is I really, really wish that citations were posted either on the website or whatever of where the fuck they get crystals, and where the fuck, though, if you went to a mining show, where did they get crystals? Like, I want to be able to, like, how I can go into Whole Foods and see what step meat or whatever I'm getting. Absolutely. I need nutritional facts on my crystals.
I think one thing that we need to make very clear when it comes to witchcraft is all you need is you.
Yep.
All you need is you. And one thing that I really appreciate about Comedos, who has been here in episode 1, is that she told us and in class, like, back in the day, black people who just came over here, like, they didn't have male form candle that's green for money or for health. Like, you used a candle, you had whatever you had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you had whatever you had. It wasn't like you had to get this certain crystal, you had to get this certain color candle. you just worked with what you had. You worked with salt, you worked with dirt, you worked with what was in your backyard, you know, and we need to get back to that.
I agree 100%.
We need to get back to that. So one thing that with research we have found is that there's a lot of child mining. So it's so important that if we're in these spaces that we are very consciously consuming, in general, we're just consciously consuming all things, but really wondering, like, where is this coming from? One thing that I would really try to encourage everyone to do wherever they live is to find local mines that they can look for those crystals themselves. They can mine for those crystals themselves.
Yeah, some of them they'll just have you like pay a fee or whatever.
Yeah, I know we have several here.
Yeah, I've been meaning to look into that. I can add that to the resources for people that are here in Georgia. I'm of the mindset that, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I think we're putting so much focus on crystals now and like having to use them and utilize them for certain things. Otherwise it won't work out or whatever. When it's like, I don't know, I can speak to this. We're in Georgia. If I go back in this, like on a nature preserve that they're everywhere or just in the backyard with all these trees, I can find so many tools that Mother Nature has willingly offered to me right now that I can use in my practice. I don't need to just take and put my money towards mass manufacturing of mining and raping the earth. Like, I just think we need to retrain our brains and how we look at our spiritual practice and needing to consume, like you were saying. But in no way saying like metaphysical shops, you should just stop going, because that's not like that's not what I'm saying.
Of course.
But yeah, I just wanted to clarify, disclaimer.
I don't get that vibe, you know? Yeah, no, I think that they, you know, metaphysical shops, when I owned one, we offered such so many resources to the community.
We need to be aware of what we're putting our money towards. If we are, you know, contributing towards mass manufacturing of child labor mining, we need to stop putting our money towards that, because all they see is we are getting money, so we're going to keep doing this so long as people are paying for it.
For sure. And if you're thinking from things from a spiritual perspective, and that's one thing that we saw at ATL Craft, was like, if you're going to be using something for magic or for a spiritual purpose, like where it came from is a factor. You can't ignore that as a factor, and the energy that it brings, you know, and it's very, very important. At least with the research that we were talking about previously was a lot of, you know, mining for crystals are people who are of impoverished places. It's creating, you know, destruction environmentally. That's quite literally a complete contradiction to witchcraft. Like, the idea is to be harmonious with Earth. It's not to continue to destroy it and rape it and treat it badly to say that we have some sort of crystal that, let's be honest, how many motherfuckers know what these crystals do in their history?
And especially with metaphysical stores with other people, with other healers, the same way of like, oh, just vet them. That's another level of honesty. So especially if like, oh, well, I don't really care what they get it from, so you don't care. Why? Like, really be honest with yourself of why you don't care.
I would appreciate it if, let's say, not saying that this is what they do, but let's just say Phoenix and Dragon realize, like, fuck, we have a lot of crystals and a lot of them were mined inhumanely and unethically. Let's just own up to it, like, hey, for years we've been doing this, because it sucks. There's an ego part there where you don't want to have to admit that, but I would appreciate it, and again, I'm not saying they did this, if they would just be like, look, we've been doing this for years and they've been unethically sourced, but starting today, we're not doing that anymore.